You're listening to the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour with Blaze and Ken. And now, Blaze and Ken.
Hello there. Hi, welcome to the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour. I'm Blaze.
I'm Ken. How
Mm.
are you doing? Welcome to 2023.
I know this is our first show. It feels we did miss a week, but I think we were prepping and kind of getting this new year together. It's going to be super exciting this whole year that we have coming up. But what do you got to drink?
Actually, I don't know if you noticed
Oh my gosh, fabulous.
I got some mulled apple cider with some Fireball.
Ooh, okay. Yum yum. Perfect. It's pretty chilly here. You see us, we're in our sweatshirts and on our long sleeve shirts, which is very unusual for me. I'm usually always in something that's not quite, but it's chilly out. And I have a guava margarita going on. So
Nice.
yeah, it's actually a little fancier today. As you could tell, I have a new look going on. So we talked about it
Yes,
a couple weeks ago. I couldn't
yes.
resist.
I need to know about this. What happened?
Mm, mm. No, you know what? We talked about it a couple weeks ago, and it was just time. It's time. I've been a blonde for a few years now, and I go off and on anyway. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll switch it up for a couple months, but I kind of wanted to go back to this is almost my natural hair color, so it's like kind of heading back in that direction. And I don't know. I just wanted to change. So it's what time better time to do it than the new year, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, listen, it looks good on you. I'm not gonna
Thank you.
lie. You kind of remind me a little bit of a Disney princess thing you got going on there a little bit.
Oh, well, thank you. Well,
I,
cheers to
well,
that.
I know you and Disney princesses too. You got an affinity.
I do. I do. That's for sure. Yes, yes. It's funny. So I just got back from Bahamas. I was away for several days and brought in the new year there, actually. So it was kind of interesting because I had never been away for New Year's, like in another country. So it was cool to see kind of what they do. And it was pretty similar to what we do here. But I happened to be on a resort island that it was like the yacht area. So, it was cool because all the yachts at midnight put on their horns and then there was fireworks and it was just we did some champagne and it was just really really cool.
Nice.
But I definitely want to share some things with you guys from the Bahamas, and I thought no better way to do that than beachcombing with Blaze. So maybe we start the show off with that, and we'll go from there.
All right, let's do it.
All right, roll that clip. Bermuda, Bahamas, come on, pretty mama. On this episode, I'm in the beautiful Bahamas, about to try one of their seafood staples here on the island, conch. This tropical marine mollusk has a beautiful spiral shaped shell, and inside there's a soft bodied sea snail. And it's edible too. A mainstay food here in Harbor Island, I saw it prepared as salad, fritters, and chowder. My friend tried a fritter first. Delicious. Well, until next time, explore, learn, love the adventure. All right. So, conch, are you about it? Or would you try it? What's your story?
I'm always down for anything to try at least once. And I've been wanting to. I was tempted to pick some up in a store recently, frozen, but I figure if
Mm.
I'm gonna do it, you always kind of want to do something like that fresh for the first time, just to have a comparison and a set for it. But
Yeah, I always think too, like frozen versus fresh fish there is a big difference. But for me, the conch, honestly, I didn't want to try it initially, but I knew it was kind of the staple of the island, and is on every menu pretty much, and prepared in many different ways. But I think just the idea of the conch and the snail, and it kind of looks like, was it flubber? Remember flubber? That little
the
it was
green
a lot,
stuff,
but it wasn't green. You saw in the Beachcombing with Blaze piece that there was some pink and some
yeah, yeah.
anyway. To think about eating it, I don't know. I just wasn't sold on it, and I wasn't sure it was going to taste very good. I remember being in New Orleans and trying alligator for the first time, and I wasn't a fan. It was a little gamey for me.
I didn't
Maybe it's
mind.
where I
I didn't
had
mind
it.
it.
Okay. It all is about where you have it too. So for
Yeah,
me, I think like having it in the Bahamas, fresh, taken right from that conch farm, was super super cool.
just funny to hear you say conch farm.
Conch farm. I know. Well, who knew? I really like conch, so
Yeah,
you know. But
I'm
listen,
I'm isolating. I'm isolating that for later.
I mean, we might as well cheers to that. It's the new year. Don't make me spit out my drink. Anyway, so
Never mind. I ain't touching that one
I
either.
know, I know. Somehow this had a little turn. So listen, Nicole, I'm sure, has some things to say to us about seafood, frozen, fresh, what the difference is in her opinion. So let's go to in the kitchen and let's roll that clip and see what she has to say.
All right.
All right.
What's up, Ken and Blaze? I am so excited about this week's episode because I know Blaze is talking about fish. In particular, she's talking about conch. Now, this can definitely be an acquired taste for a lot of people, but fish in general, guess what? I hear that all the time. Oh, Nicole, I know I should eat more fish, but I'm not really into it. So if you're looking to add more fish to your diet, whether it's shellfish or mollusks or regular fish, right? We need to give ourselves some permission to play around with the preparation. So guess what? If your intro to a fish is a fritter, go on ahead. Here are some other thoughts though. Why don't you think about making yourself a ceviche, which is really just cooking raw fish through the process of adding an acid to it, right? And you can utilize that method with a lot of different fish. It's not just whitefish. You can use salmon, you could do tuna, you could do bluefish. And yes, you can try conch in that preparation as well. Secondarily, why don't we look at preparations of things we know we like and see like, hey, would this fish lend itself to that too? So yes, I'm going to go on ahead and say, if you know that you like lobster or crab and you like it with some butter and lemon, maybe that's a way you're going to enjoy some other fish too. So sometimes it's not all about getting caught up in what's the healthiest way that I can prepare and enjoy this, but what is a way that's going to get my taste buds going and get to explore this flavor. Blaze, I always love how you're talking about all these different delights of the sea. There are so many. And to both you and Ken, take it back to the studio, and I'll see you next week.
I knew it. I knew that would be her answer. I love hearing everything that Nicole has to say, and I really do look forward to her just kind of going off on her own tangent this whole season. I'm excited in this year. So
Oh
cheers,
yeah,
Nicole. Mm,
definitely.
hmm So let's talk about the show today. It's an exciting one because it's one that kind of came off of another show that we did a couple weeks back. So why don't you kind of intro that?
Yeah. So sometime back we had Lisa Regina on, who at the time was go talking about her new film Dismissal Time that was at the film festival circuits. She'd won an award, I believe. Actually, a
Right.
couple awards. Actually, I believe were won for it. And as we got into the conversation, it brought up she had brought up the director, and as soon as the name hit, I was like, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Um, Great guy named Andre Joseph, who years ago on one of my other shows was a guest. Who was also one of the actresses in a film he was doing at the time, Tempted. Catherine
Okay.
Wood
Ah, okay.
was um, was in that film. I was talking with Kat about it. She wound up saying, "Hey, I know the director. We're promoting this. Can we come on and talk to you?" And that's essentially how Andre and I first met. And what a great guy! Got a great head on his shoulders. He's got a great love for film, and he's actually kind of eclectic with the types of projects that he works on. So,
I love that.
yeah, like I said, great head on his shoulders. We got along really well, and like I said, when Lisa had told us that she had been working with him, I'm like, I got to reach out to Andre, see how he's doing. And that night, actually, I reached out to him. We were going back and forth for a little bit through messaging, and he's like, "Yeah, just let me know. We'll set it up and let's talk." I'm like, great. So it's been a long 7 years or so since we saw each other, but
Yeah. Well,
but
I
I'm really
see that
looking
he
forward.
just joined. I see that he's here. So why don't we bring him in and reunite you guys at long last? Well, hello there.
Hey,
Reunited and it feels so good.
Hi there.
Hey, what's going on? Good to see you, Ken.
Same here, Andre, man. It's been a long time. So let's kind of jump into this a little bit. You know, the last time we talked was, I want to say back in around 2015, 16. You had the movie
Yeah.
Tempted out, and again, I was friends. I still am friends with Catherine Wood, and that was how we wound up meeting you. And it was kind of like a teen angst type thing at the time, from what I remember.
Yeah, it was a short film I wrote in college that ultimately I decided to make. I was just a little bit older and dealing with this kid that wants to fit in with a frat and has to go through an initiation. In this case, the initiation is he has to lose his virginity to a stripper. So he's kind of torn between his dignity and do I, fall in with the cracks with these guys, and has some hilarious results.
Right.
Love it.
So let's catch up a little bit because it has been some time, and we know that you have your most recent movie, Dismissal Time, has won some awards on the circuit. Which congratulations
Yeah,
for
thank you.
for starters. But catch us up. So catch me up at least a little bit because it has been a long time. What's gone on the last couple of years with you and some of the other projects that you've been working on?
It's been pretty crazy, but yeah, it's been also nonstop busy too. So after I did Tempted, I did a feature film called Vendetta Games, which is a action thriller that got played at the Urban Action Showcase sponsored by Cinemax, won the Best Urban Action Film Award. And then later on during the pandemic, it was picked up and put onto Tubi and Amazon. It's still playing as we speak. Then I did a short film called The Saxophonist, which was kind of like a love story dealing with a jazz sax player falling in love with a French ballet dancer. That one won the best film at the New York Jazz Film Festival back in 2018.
I
And
have a question about that one, actually.
yeah,
So to get into that movie in particular, because I did see, I love jazz music, first of all. So when
mm,
I saw you did a movie called The Saxophonist, I was like, I wonder if it's about a saxophonist. I had to like really look into it to see, and I haven't watched it yet. So tell us a little bit about it and how did casting go for that? Because I'm assuming that you found somebody who really played and all of that. And where did you get the idea for that kind of movie?
that came from, again, when I was in college, I was taking a history of jazz class and
Mm,
studying up on all the greats, how they pushed the music in their time. And I just came with this idea, kind of based on some personal experiences of a jazz player who's kind of one of those guys who wants to be one of the greats in this day and age,
mm,
and is kind of torn between this potential career opportunity and this romance that kind of blossoms with this girl from out of town after he just went through a breakup.
mm,
So I kind of put it aside for a while. Then the story became more relatable as I got older and felt the need of telling my story as a struggling artist through this saxophone player.
yeah.
And I knew I didn't want to cast an actor that had to learn or mimic playing sax. I want to find somebody who could really do it. And we had a family friend who introduced me to Bevan Lawrence, who's a sax player based in Brooklyn. And we met. He liked the idea, and I told him, look, just do your thing. Like, I know you just put out an album. We can implement the songs that you recorded. And at the same time, I'll spend 8 months with you just teaching you how to act and work with the actors that we assemble. And he was great, and I think he picked up a lot to give a natural performance that really transcends that film.
Lonnie Johnson and the Black Willows.
What kind of music do you play?
Jazz.
What you were playing tonight was pretty amazing. You're a quality talent. You deserve to be surrounded by quality engineers, musicians, and producers.
Where's your gig money really going?
Excellent.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I love that.
So let's jump ahead a little bit and let's talk a little bit about Dismissal Time.
I started to write this story of a kid in a prep school who goes through a situation like I did. The only key difference is it's his history teacher, who's sort of a composite of a number of teachers I had in my past, who actually takes the stand to get to the truth. And once she finds out who actually did write this thing, it becomes kind of a political game between herself and the school administration. And Lisa was the person I thought of right away for this teacher role because she resembled one of the teachers that I had, and really just she brought it. Like I knew just even like creating that character, her personality would absolutely fit this character.
Now, did you know Lisa going into this beforehand, or did you meet her through an audition? How did that work?
I knew Lisa since 2007. So my first film was a movie called Priceless, and I worked with the casting director with my first film being a SAG project. And funny enough, there was a role of this waitress. So just long story short with the story, it's dealing with a jewel thief who's on the run from the mob. He goes back to his hometown. He bumps into his old girlfriend, who's now a single mom, and he's trying to get back with her while the Russians are getting close to him. Um, so there's a subplot in the movie where the love interest is working in a restaurant, and she confides in one of her co-workers who, is the only one that's kind of like understanding her difficult situation being a single mom, struggling with the bills and so on. And this role was actually almost offered to Ali Sheedy from, 80s Breakfast Club, and I was actually
Mm.
excited, but then I was like, I'm too nervous to work with her because it's my first film. I don't want to screw it up. So then the casting director suggested me to Lisa Regina, and who I didn't really know anything about other than the fact that she had done some work on The Sopranos and she was an acting coach. And she was an audition. I just saw her reel and I said, okay, yeah, she definitely has like kind of a seasoned look to be working in a restaurant. So we cast her, and that day when we shot, it was her, my lead actress Tasha Perry, and Robert Clohessy from Oz, and a whole host of Blue Bloods, whole host of TV shows everybody knows. So that was like a huge big day for me on my first film. And but Lisa was just fantastic, and I just let her kind of do her thing. And then she told me, yeah, I do coaching, and I'm always looking for students to help out. And I was interested in sharpening my skills. So I started taking private lessons with her for a good couple of months and started to learn a lot about listening and making eye contact, feeling out a character. And, I would help her on occasions with small projects that she was doing. And she would recommend actors for me when I was looking to audition people. So yeah, I've known her now a good like 15 years, 16 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we had her on the show a couple weeks ago, we just thought it was so cool, the 6 degrees of separation, because it happens, I think, all the time. Every guest we've had on this show, I like pop up like, "Oh, you said Robert Clohessy." I was like, "I worked with him." Like,
Yeah.
or Ken's like, "Oh, I had this person on the show." And I love that about this industry, how it's so many people, but somehow we find this little niche and we just we kind of know each other in some way, shape, or form and want to help each other. I love that about this business.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you too. Now that Dismissal Time is out and everything else, do you have one of your next projects lined up? Do you have something going on in your head, or actually that you're prepping?
I have one project that I'm actually prepping now. I can't really announce it yet because it's still in the early stages. But I did complete two short films in the past year that I did kind of on the down low. One is a short film called Marked, which is written by my friend Bill Doherty, and this is dealing. I would say it's like John Wick meets Ghost Dog. I get to
Mm.
play a hitman who's kind of burned out and gets thrown back by his old group to do this one last job, but it turns out it's somebody that's kind of close to me. So there's a conflict of interest there, and that hasn't been put out yet. I only have the trailer, and we're waiting for festivals there. And then this might be up your alley, Ken, but I did a GI Joe fan film.
Get out.
And that right now we're doing the sound mix on it. We wanted to experiment with some special effects and green screen work. So rather than try to come up with an original idea that, you have to like really have to think it through hard, I said,
Mhm.
I've always wanted to do G.I. Joe the right way because I always felt like Hollywood never got the essence of what made it work.
Yeah.
And especially the Marvel comics, if you ever read them, how
Oh yeah.
grounded they are compared to the cartoon. So
Yeah.
yeah, I got a bunch of friends together. We shot for like 3 days over the summer, and yeah, I mean, I've thrown a few pictures of it. I'll probably put it up online once it's all together. But I'm actually shocked how good it looks. People are not ready for this one.
I'm excited now. I've been piqued. My interest has been totally piqued, and I'm guessing that you're hoping to make Larry Hama proud, right? Is that what that?
Absolutely. There's a special thanks to him at the end.
Blaze, he was he's a great comic book writer. He's actually a good great writer in general, but back in the 80s, 90s, he was like one of the key voices of GI Joe. Matter of
Mm.
fact, if I remember, he was one of the guys they used to write the background bios on the backs of the cards for the toys
Yes,
too.
he wrote the file cards for each Joe and Cobra member.
Yeah, so essentially,
Interesting.
yeah, so he created the origin that you read when you bought the figure, and then applied it to when he wrote the books too.
Mhm.
So yeah,
So with my new hair, I used to be blonde, Andre. So we were talking today about my change because it just happened recently. But I was like, could I be Scarlet then now?
Yeah, we already had a Scarlet in the movie, but we
No,
could use a
no, I don't
Lady
mean.
J for the sequel.
Lady Jane maybe.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
or Cover
Oh,
Girl,
that's
or
so
one of
funny.
the others.
I love it. I remember, listen, my brother, I have a brother who's a year younger than me, and I would have never watched G.I. Joe growing up, or
Mhm.
Transformers for that matter, as a female. And just, there were so many other shows to watch, Gem and the
Yeah.
girly ones, right? But because my brother and I had to share the TV, we only had one, that, I did have to watch G.I. Joe, and I loved it. I loved that. I loved Transformers, and I liked, what was the one in the morning with Haji and Johnny
Oh,
Quest?
Johnny,
I
Johnny
yeah,
love
Quest.
Johnny
yeah,
Quest.
Johnny Quest
Johnny
is
Quest
great.
was one of my favorites. And I wouldn't have watched them had I not had my brother kind of wanting to watch all those things and sharing the
Listen,
TV.
listen. I'll be honest. I was a Gem fan as a kid.
Jim wasn't bad. Yeah,
It
I
was
only
it was
watched a few
it was fun.
episodes.
It was
Truly
essentially like
outrageous.
it was truly, yeah, she was truly outrageous. And but I mean, essentially, it was nothing more than like a superhero story of sorts too, where it was like Gem and then the alter ego. It's
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
loved it.
absolutely. Now, I have a question for you. So, I read in your bio that, you're a big movie fan, like loved movies as a kid. So, would you be willing to play a little game with Ken and I?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, cool. So, it's going to be super simple. I'm going to give you three movies, and you guys are going to pick which one I'm telling the truth about was the very first movie that I fell in love with as a kid. So, and then Ken will
Okay.
go, and then so you can have a little time to think. You can be last.
Okay.
All right, was it E.T.?
Wait, hold on. So
Right.
you're actually going to give us three movies, and we're
Yeah,
looking at which
just
one is
picking
was
the
just the
right one.
all
Just
right,
one right one.
all
Yeah.
right, all
So,
right.
was it E.T.? Was it Jaws? Or was it The Godfather?
Hmm.
I know that you are a big Jaws fan,
I am.
and I know how old you are.
Shh. 28 again. 29 again.
That's what happens with a new dye job. I get it. I get it.
There we go.
No, I don't know, Blaze. I know you, so I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Jaws.
What do you think, Andre?
I'm gonna say Jaws too. I'm gonna go on a limb, and that's my thought.
Oh,
It was
no, don't do it because
no,
I'm doing it.
No. That was the first thing that popped in my head. Like,
he
E.T.
doesn't
was
know you
definitely not
though.
my first. I can tell you that.
I mean, we essentially did a whole episode about Jaws about a year ago.
We
So
did.
Mhm.
We did. Listen, it's actually E.T., but it's because it's the first one that I really fell in love with. Like there are so many Jaws I would have seen before that, as well as Star Wars and all of those other things. But as a kid, for me, the love happened because I watched it with my grandfather. Like there's that
Mhm.
memory of sitting and watching it, and it's not that it was a better movie than anything else. It was just that I fell in love with that whole aspect of film, I think. And ET was the kind of the starter of it. So, all right, Ken, you're up.
all right. Which film did I see first on screen?
Oh, okay. That's a different question. All right.
It's the first film I ever saw on screen. All
Okay.
right. So is it A, Star Wars: A New Hope, B, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, or C, Star Wars: Return of the Jedi?
Ooh. Uh on screen. Was this in a movie theater or was this in a drive-in theater?
It was
It makes a
actually at a
difference.
drive-in theater.
Oh, it was. All
That's
right.
why I said on screen and not in
Hmm.
theaters. But
Okay.
but now you pulled it out of me, so
I'm gonna go A New Hope.
okay.
I'm gonna say Empire.
So I was born in 1977 when A New Hope came out,
Right. Oh.
but I saw A New Hope in theaters when I was a year old when my parents went out on their first date.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I don't remember it, but I was there. I think actually the only one that I remember I apparently I saw all three in theaters. The only one that I can actually remember, I think I was 6 when Jedi came out.
Hmm. Gotcha. All right, Andre, you're up. Fool
Okay.
us. See if you can fool us.
The first sequel that I saw in a theater,
Mm,
was
okay.
it Ghostbusters 2, Terminator 2, or Die Hard 2?
Oh, those are
Ooh,
all
those
around the
are all
same
good.
time too.
Yeah, they're all good
So
choices.
Ghostbusters was 89. Wow, sorry, what was it was Ghostbusters, Terminator
Terminator
2 was
2,
91,
Mhm.
and what was the other one? I'm sorry.
Die Hard 2.
Die
Die
Hard
Hard
2.
2.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm
I,
just gonna say Ghostbusters 2,
I,
just
I'm
because I like that movie a lot.
I'm thinking
All the
Blockbuster,
Ghostbusters.
The Age. I'm gonna say Ghostbusters.
Yeah, you're both correct.
All right. It was like it was either Ghostbusters or T2 actually. That was where I was going.
Yeah, I only snuck into T2 towards the end of the movie instead of like that day, and I still regret this to this day. I tell people all the time that I went and saw Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey over T2.
Well, I told Ken when we were prepping for this show, when I was, thinking what movie I was going to say. I said, I wonder if I should say, the one that I snuck into the other room to watch with my when my mom wasn't around, and that was Porky's. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really old, but it was like
Mhm.
so silly. But for some reason, those kind of movies just make me laugh now because thinking back that I actually snuck around to actually watch something like that. Like it's very funny.
Andre probably knows all about Porky's, but I'm sure it was probably just research for Tempted.
Ah,
It did come to mind because I saw Porky's in '96 during a summer trip. We
yeah.
had a Blockbuster right there. We had the Universal card, and I had never seen it, but I rented it and I was freaked out, especially the shower scene.
Well, that was like the heyday too, right? It was like Porky's, Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It had kind of had all of those, anything with Rob Lowe in it, pretty much, or Andrew McCarthy. It was like all
Johnny
those.
Depp did one of
Johnny
those.
Depp, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Private Resort.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Was that
Demi
the one with
Moore.
Sybil Danning too, or no?
No, it had the girl from Police Academy to play
Oh yes.
Callahan. Yeah.
Leslie Easterbrook. That's what I was
Yes,
thinking.
yes, those
Yes.
are-
Yes. Yes, that's
She's
amazing.
one I'm working on for the show coming up actually.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so hey, listen, man, I really want to thank you for hanging out with us tonight. It was nice to kind of take a trip down memory lane with you. I know it's been a long time since you and I got to really sit down and have a good conversation. It was really great to be able to meet up with you again. And let's not make it another 7 years. How's that sound?
Yeah, no, there'll be more to come, and I appreciate you seeing you again, Ken, and nice to meet you too.
Yes, you too. We do have one last question that we ask
Yeah.
all of our guests, and that is just if you had one piece of advice to give to someone who's just starting out as a direct. I mean, you wear so many hats: director, writer, producer, actor. But just something that kind of encompasses all of that. What's your main piece of advice?
I think it's if you're gonna make your career into something tangible and legit, you definitely need to know the business end of it too, as much as possible. Get a good lawyer, understand contracts, especially when it comes to finances, because it's easy to get caught up in the dream of making the movie, but then the reality of it can sometimes be soul crushing. But if you can find a balance of the two and stick with it, you can't be discouraged.
Right. That's amazing. Well, I'm putting up all of the different ways that people can reach you. So the Facebook is up there. There's also your website. And I did put Twitter earlier. I think maybe I could put all three. Let's see. Oh, nope, it
Nope.
replaced the other one. But there's the Twitter as well. If that's your handle. But thank you so much for being part of the show. We so appreciate it. And good luck with everything. Please keep us posted. And we'd love to have you back again, on a future episode as well.
I will. This was great. Thanks so much, guys.
You're
Not a
welcome.
problem. Thanks a lot, man. It was good seeing you again.
Take
You have a
care.
Yeah,
great
And
you
night.
too.
cheers. Cheers to you.
Yes.
Yes,
Happy
cheers.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Mhm. so cool.
That was fun. And it was really
Yeah.
nice catching up with him. And I'm like I said, it's been 7 years, but I'm glad to see that he's had a lot of other things going on, and that he's still winning awards actually. So that's very
Yeah.
impressive.
Listen, to even just make a movie and re-envision something like G.I. Joe, super cool.
Oh,
Like, I definitely want to
listen,
see
I'm waiting
that.
for that.
I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely going to keep my eye out to see what he's working on next. And I love the fact that he, didn't just, you know, kind of start in the business and then not work toward it. Meaning, like, he did take the lessons with Lisa,
Yeah.
Lisa Regina, we're talking about, of course, and and just try to make himself as best as he can be all around. And if you're going to do acting, producing, directing, writing, if you're going to do it all, it's exactly what he says. You have to know the business in and out, and that is also with the entertainment side and the contractual side. And believe me, we've all been there in this business in some way, where you feel like maybe you should have known something. You should have known better. I can say that a couple times that I've said, "Oh,
I,
I
I
should
was
have
gonna
known
say,
better."
I'm sure that's happened to you a couple of
Yeah.
times in the past, right?
It has, it has. But you know what? It's not, I never look at anything and regret. It's
I
sort of
may
like
I may have been on set when you had one of those moments.
oh yeah, you might have been actually. No, but you know what? But at the end of the day, it's all an experience, and um, you know, so you can't beat that.
Yeah,
But well, listen, I think that'll do it for our show today,
yeah.
and I'm excited. This was episode 10, season 2, episode 10,
We're flying
which is
through these.
exciting. We really are. But thank you again to Andre Joseph. Again, here is his website. I'll just throw up one more time,
Yep.
and of course to our buddy
Big
Nicole
big
in the
thanks to
kitchen.
Nicole. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. And to you, my friend,
Yes.
until next week,
Happy New Year,
talk to you
boys.
later. Happy New Year. Take care, guys.
You've just enjoyed the Silver Phoenix Happy Hour with Blaze and Ken.